Greetings, it's I, Dracovin. Welcome back to Golarion. We're heading back, yes, to the world of the Pathfinder role-playing game to learn about another ancestry. One in particular that most people don't really play. There might be stats for it, but I've really looked not into it really deeply. The Charau-ka. Yes, we'll be diving back into the jungles of the Mwangi Expanse, so get your gear ready. We're heading in deep. We're going deep into the Mwangi Expanse. Make sure that you're ready for some heat, some dangerous creatures, and of course, as it's unfortunately known as, a very vulgar term, the ape of the Mwangi Expanse. That's what they're called by a lot of others. Tends to be derogatory term. In a way, describes them, but not truly. So, if you were to learn about the Charau-ka, where would you go for this? Well, there's a lot of books that you can go for this. I would recommend, first and foremost, of course, the Serpent's Skull book there, The Vault of Madness. That has a big chunk of it. But the Inner Sea World Guides and campaign setting helps you with first edition. And the Heart of Jungle gives some more information about their connections to the Mwangi Expanse. And the Mwangi Expanse Lost Omens book from second edition would be your best bet to see how they've been upgraded from first to second edition. So who are these beings? Who are the Charau-ka? Their intelligence, they're an ape-like people. They seem in a way, they are humanoid, but if you first glance at them and look at them, they look kind of almost a little monkey or chimpanzee shaped in a lot of ways. Again, a lot of people refer to them as that vulgar term of ape man, but that doesn't really give them justice. And they are oftentimes small-sized, too. So keep that in mind. They are a small humanoid. Most of them worship Gaza, the demon lord of apes and jungles. Some will venerate other demon lords and deities, including Yudir Siu, which is the patron of the serpent folk. In the polyglot language, the Charu means beware, which could be connected to these things, it could not be. Now, their legend is an important one because they will say this legend too. This is a legend that their species, their beings, their ancestry has, that they were created by Angaza from the first humans that fought against the cult. Basically, when those humans fought against the cult of Angaza, those dead rose as Charau-ka. Basically, they found a gift from Charau-ka, life again as one of his servants. Proof has never been found, and there are even rumors that really haven't been founded that Charau-ka clerics of Angaza had a special ritual that could reincarnate their dead enemies as more members of them. Again, there's a lot of rumors and stuff that goes around, but they are a species that, an ancestry that particularly feels a deep connection to a demon. So it's kind of easy to see the direction they're coming from. It's also important to note there is a even smaller version, a pygmy version, that roams the colonies. So just keep that in mind. So if we were to look and talk about the Charau-ka a little bit, they tend to be very, in ways, seen as savage and violent. Why is this? They're very animalistic. They dive into the animal side of themselves very often. And you will find them throughout the jungles of the Mwangi Expanse, Sagarva and the Sodomy. Sagarva now being, of course, what would become the nation of the Dream. But throughout those regions, you will find them. Some of these tribes are nomadic. Some occupy abandoned villages. Some occupy ruined cities. They tend not to be very large in numbers. When they grow in numbers, they tend to, well, have problems. We'll talk about them. The villages that they do build will stretch from the ground to the jungle camp. Now, most of them will follow the Gorilla King, an important leader in their religion, a being that is seen as a reincarnation of someone that serves Agazan into a powerful gorilla creature. And the most loyal and organized tribes of their people are closest to Osaru, the home of the Gorilla King. These also tend to be more powerful compared to their relatives outside, and also a little less feral. the farther away they get away from the influence of the Gorilla King and Osaru, they go more animalistic in a lot of ways. Now, there is rumors that they do feed on the flesh of humanoids, but in fact, they are omnivores. They gather fruit and nuts, they hunt game, both large and small. If they do attack another settlement, they will eat some dead on sight, not waste what they've gotten, but they also have been known to take prisoners for meals later, capture some things to keep alive until they are ready to eat. So it's not that they won't eat other humanoids. They could, it's just not a primary thing that they do. It's just they tend to be a little more practical that way. A little bit more animalistic in that way. They do enter kind of bloodlust in battle. They're very wild about it. Many of them master thrown weapons and actually have a very good ability to throw them very far. Because of their very feral, animalistic nature, and in the dangers of the Mwangi Expanse, it's a very dangerous place, as I've talked about in other videos. Their lives are often very short. They're down in the nitty-gritty of the Mwangi Expanse. There's a lot of them there, too. The most long-lived ones live up to about 50 years, though. Because, as thing is also, as the elders get to be that old, they're oftentimes either killed or forced to flee. Why is this? Because they slow down the tribe. Basically, if they are a detriment to the tribe, they get rid of them. Now, there are some exceptions, if they have special skills like magic or abilities like that, that could be helpful even at those lower, later ages where their physical abilities fail. Children are expected to keep up the tribe, and will oftentimes hang on to their parents during travel to keep up with speed. They will also use younger children as scouts or foragers when they reach about 3 years old. They reach adulthood at about 8. Due to their cultural norms, the children are not included in a tribal violence, and are used to develop the tribal are not included in violence in amongst the tribe. That is used to develop the tribal hierarchy. Basically, they have violence with each other to develop hierarchies, but if you are a child, you are still considered a child. You haven't reached that 8 years old. You are not included in that. You have to reach adulthood before you can prove yourself in the hierarchy there. Elders that survive and still haven't been removed, that have proven themselves worthy, are actually used to help still. Elders can be used as guards for females that are in late stages of pregnancy or in early ages of child rearing. Basically, a lot of times a tribe will have a sacred birthing ground. Even if they are nomadic, they will have a specific place where the females, when they're getting ready to give birth or with their young children, will go there, effectively during the second half of their gestation period and the early nursing periods when the child would have some difficulty traveling. Basically, might not be able to hold on to on their own. And these elders that have proven themselves, that have maybe seen themselves maybe not lose a couple of steps, will maybe find themselves as guardsmen. They do manufacture some equipment, clubs, simple weapons, tan leather armor, but they are not also against scavenging materials, especially metal weapons, which they will get from their victims of their raids. Anything they can't carry with them, they destroy. They don't really have use of a lot of treasure. Metal is not really valued other than weapons. You know, it's just a silly metal. It's not anything helpful. Just get rid of it. Now, most of them will have a basically home base, even if they are a nomadic group. Some place that is the kind of center of their tribe and the center of their hunting grounds. Whether this does move depends, of course, on the tribe, too. If you're a more nomadic tribe, you may have a home base for a period of time, hunting in that territory, then moving that one. Others that are more permanent might have just one permanent, basically, home base. Whether that's close to their hunting grounds, again, that's basically based on the tribe. When traveling, they can move about 20 miles a day. They are noisy on the move, though, too. They don't keep quiet. They have howls and whoops that basically are used to keep track of everyone in the jungle canopy. They set a pace, tell stories of past heroes, pray to Angazan, and basically do their best to terrify their prey. And when needed, a chieftain, a lord of them, can basically command immediate silence. Basically, then hierarchy is determined by who can defeat whom in battle. The leader of the tribe is the most dangerous warrior. The traditional challenge, the right of the blood totem, calls for the challenges against the chieftain to occur within a site of specific totems sacred to Angaza. So, if you want to be the leader of a tribe, if you want to defeat the chieftain, you have to do it in a certain specific site. Otherwise, it is just their hierarchy amongst those. The warrior is eliminated from the mass melee challenge when decisively defeated. Once a few serious contenders arise, the battle is waged to death of all but one. So basically, there's some melee fights. Those that are defeated are kind of soundly eliminated. And when there's a few true challengers to the chieftain, they battle to the death. There are some more civilized tribes, basically probably places closer to the Gorilla King, which will let the losers live, but sacrifice an animal and prisoner instead. Basically, if you are in a place probably more connected, more organized, more civilized, closer to Usaru and the Gorilla King, most likely you would have to bring some kind of sacrifice that if you lose, you'd have to sacrifice an animal and prisoner in your stead. If you were to lose. You basically give a great sacrifice to your god, to your demon lord, Angzan, to be like, I have failed this day, I give you this sacrifice, Angzan. Please forgive me for my not living up to your greatness, for not being able to take the tribal chieftains. The fact that there is a lot of infighting also leads to the fact that you cannot find very large tribes of Charau-ka. They tend to get in larger and larger fights the more population they get. So it does mean that if there is a larger population of them, they will oftentimes break apart and separate into two tribes, or more depending on the situation. That's more, again, on the outskirts. As you get more closer to Osaru, you can get larger numbers, especially with servants of the Gorilla King there to basically rule over them, because you can have tribes that are like that. Sure, you may have a chieftain particular tribe, but you will then give reverence to the basically warrior of the Gorilla King that is your true ruler, true leader of this group. You would have your, hierarchy there that has a thing above you in the tribe that is sent to you by your great powerful lord, the Gorilla King. So Gorillians tend to be one of those types that are set above that, which could change because I don't know if Gorillians is that was the first edition feature. And I'm unsure if they were a holdover from D&D off the top of my head, so I can't tell you if they are in the Moslem. So, yeah, that is the basics of the Charau-ka. And again, this is one of those interesting ones where we don't have a lot of, stats for playing. They are a humanoid. They are an ancestry on Golarion. But they aren't one that's really technically played. I think it's the sheer fact that they are very much so in the camp of a demon. And yes, in old ways, they are kind of defined as more evil alignment. But I would really say they're just more savage, feral, connected with nature, and they are creatures that, if you really look at the description of them and the way they act, they aren't the worst creatures in existence. Why? Well, they're not necessarily killing for the love of killing or doing very evil things in particular. If they're attacking a location, it's to gain materials, to slay some things for food, or to take away prisoners that they can keep for food. Yes, it's very dark, because they are a humanoid creature doing this to another humanoid, but it is very way of the jungle, in a way. And I think that's something that we have to see with these creatures. They are beings of the Mwangi Expanse in a lot of ways. And certainly speaking, they are probably the frontline fighters, cannon fodder of the Gorilla King. And you can see that as they kind of centralize into that area with the powerful religious, leader or powerful leader of the culture there, of their Angazan cult in the jungle, they become, to a level, more civilized. But then they're more under the call of the Gorilla King and maintaining its control of its city and its region. outsiders be warned. So it's this combination of things that you're maybe never going to find peace within their people, truly, because they don't build high walls. They don't find places to defend themselves. They don't have that. They don't exit themselves from the jungle in a lot of ways that a lot of other people in the Mwangi Expanse do. Not that they aren't part of the jungle, but a lot of people in the Mwangi Expanse find ways to live safely in the jungle, to minimize the risk. City-states have great walls around them. Things like that, or are put in places that are a little less separated from the jungle, from the expanse, from more dangerous parts. It is just one of those things that means they embrace it. They have their villages, not only from the floor, but all the way to treetops. They build these vertical places that are set in place when they do that, or even if they're temporary, in that location for a time. They are creatures of the expanse, just as dangerous as any of the more savage beasts, and many of them are maybe only a couple steps above that, because that's what they embrace. They embrace their own savagery in a lot of ways. It doesn't mean they couldn't be, but that's their way to be part of the jungle. So, yeah, they're dangerous. Yeah, they might attack you, and yeah, they're maybe not the best people as they worship a demon lord. Certainly not. But you do have to kind of respect them in a lot of ways, that what they are and what they do. They are a people of the expanse as much as any other is. Probably more so than many of the other ancestries that live in them. They truly embrace the savageness that's often seen in a way that others do not. But that'll be it for today. I hope you enjoyed learning about the Charau-ka. They were definitely one that was a very fun one to research and look into, just because they are a group that we know a lot about from various books. As I said, I pointed out very easily that the Serpent Skull book, the fourth book there, that one, The Vaults of Madness, has a very good, even deeper dive than I've talked about them here. So, if you really want to dive into them, you can. Remember, though, any of these videos, you can check them out with me live on Twitch. If you're over on Twitch, just follow at least would be great. If you're loving me on YouTube later on when this is uploaded, liking, subscribing, ringing the bell, the things that appease the great dark algorithm are there. My question today for both groups is if we can talk about post-Twitch or, put in the description on YouTube. Have any of you dealt with the Charau-ka? I know, I'm interested to see if any of you have had any adventures that deals with them at all or has encounters with them. I'm just curious. If you, of course, want to catch any of these live, that's Tuesdays and Thursdays. I also have other tabletop stuff. Everything goes up on YouTube. Again, I'm not saying YouTube, you don't have to come and join me there. We will be joining me more. But just if you want to come over on Twitch and say hi, and check this stuff out while everything's being done. Wednesdays is Crimson Queen. Pathfinder live play. It's 9 p.m. in the evening currently. And then Saturdays at 6 for discussing tabletop, where we talk about news of the week and deeper discussions. I have social media link below, Discord, Twitter. I think that's all the normal shoutouts I really have to give here at the back end of the show. So, I'm trying to minimize it, try to make it quick and efficient, and I hope everybody enjoys that. I know these first couple of videos have been of a new format. I'm going to kind of spill the boat here. There's a little bit at the end here. If you have any ideas to improve it more, just let me know. Alright, everybody, I'm going to get going then. I'm going to hang out with Twitch chat. Maybe we'll do one video. But otherwise, I bid you a deep and wonderful farewell.